You see that blanket of fresh, white snow, and your first thought is to grab the shovel and a bag of salt. It seems simple enough. You're just clearing a path, making things safe. But here's what nobody tells you. The way most people melt snow is a trap. A trap that can crack your concrete, poison your pets, rust your car, and lead to thousands of dollars in repairs you never saw coming. I'm going to be straight with you. What you think is a simple winter chore is actually a high-stakes battle against physics and chemistry. And the worst part? You're probably making these mistakes without even knowing it. Before you touch another shovel, we're going to break down the 7 deadly mistakes homeowners make every single winter. Pay close attention, because mistake number 1 is probably sitting in your garage right now, turning your own tools against you. Mistake 1. Waging war with the wrong weapons. Let's jump into the most fundamental tool in your winter arsenal, the shovel. For many, a shovel is a shovel. You grab the old one from the back of the garage, maybe it has a steel blade, and you go to town, scraping and chipping away. This is your first critical error. That metal-edged shovel you think is so effective is also incredibly effective at destroying your property. Every time that steel edge scrapes against your concrete driveway or pavers, it's creating microscopic scratches and chips. You might not see the damage at first. But winter is a war of attrition. After a few seasons, those tiny scratches become small cracks. Water seeps in. When the temperature drops, that water freezes and expands with incredible force, a process called the freeze-thaw cycle. This expansion acts like a tiny wedge, making the cracks bigger. Year after year, this repeats, a slow-motion demolition of your hardscaping. What started as a pristine driveway is now flaking and crumbling. The repair bill for resurfacing a driveway can run into the thousands, all because you chose the wrong shovel. The same goes for your deck. A metal shovel will gouge the wood, splinter the boards, and scrape off protective sealants, leaving it vulnerable to rot. The right weapon is an ergonomic snow shovel. These are designed to protect your property and your body. Look for one with a durable plastic blade that won't gouge your surfaces. The term ergonomic is key. These shovels have curved handles designed to keep your back straighter, forcing you to lift with your legs, not your spine. This dramatically reduces the risk of back, neck, and shoulder strain. Remember, shoveling is strenuous. Medical studies show that over 11,000 people end up in the emergency room each year from snow shovel-related incidents in the U.S. alone. The right shovel isn't a luxury, it's essential safety equipment. Now, the roof. If you're even thinking about using a standard shovel up there, stop immediately. The single most important rule of roof snow removal is to keep your feet firmly on the ground. The proper tool is a roof rake, a wide blade on a long, extendable pole that lets you pull snow off from below. But even here, there's a right way and a wrong way. Never scrape your roof down to the bare shingles. You might think you're being thorough, but you're scraping off the protective granules that shield your roof from the sun and elements. The correct technique is to leave a thin layer of snow, maybe an inch or so, to act as a protective buffer. Look for a rake with small wheels or bumpers. They're designed to keep the blade from making damaging contact. Using the wrong tool transforms a preventative measure into a destructive act. Mistake 2. The catastrophe of poor timing. In the battle against snow, timing isn't just important, it's everything. Most homeowners get it completely backward. They wait for the storm to end, then they head out to face the aftermath. This reactive approach is a recipe for backbreaking labor. The second deadly mistake is a failure to be proactive. Let's break this down. First, shoveling. It seems logical to wait. Why do the work twice? But waiting allows the snow to transform. Freshly fallen snow is light. As it sits, it gets compacted by its own weight and foot traffic. Then, as temperatures fluctuate, the surface melts and refreezes, creating a hard, icy crust over dense, heavy snow. Trying to shovel this is exponentially harder. You're no longer just lifting snow. You're fighting a bonded, solid block. This is where injuries happen. The correct strategy is to shovel early and often. During a long storm, clearing a few inches every couple of hours is far easier and safer. You're moving less weight, and you're preventing that bottom layer from bonding to the pavement, which is the key to a truly clear surface. This leads to the even more critical timing mistake: applying ice melt. Most people spread it on top of existing snow and ice. While this eventually works, it's incredibly inefficient. The salt has to burn its way down to the pavement to do its job. The real secret, the pro-level move, is to pre-treat your surfaces. Applying a light, even layer of ice melt before the snow starts is the single most effective thing you can do. Here's why it works. The product lies in wait. As the first snowflakes land, they melt, creating a thin layer of liquid brine right at the surface. This brine acts as a barrier, preventing snow and ice from forming a strong bond with your driveway. When you shovel later, the snow pushes away easily because it never got a chance to glue itself down. You'll use far less effort and get a much safer result. A small amount of product used proactively is far more powerful than a large amount used reactively. Mistake 3. Building your own home's demise. You've done the hard work of shoveling, but now you have massive piles of snow, and where you put them is just as important. The third deadly mistake is piling snow in the wrong places, inadvertently setting up a water attack on your home's foundation. The most common error is piling snow directly against the side of your house. It seems convenient, but you've just created a ticking time bomb. When that massive pile melts, it releases a tremendous amount of water straight down, saturating the soil against your foundation. This creates two massive problems. First, hydrostatic pressure. The waterlogged soil exerts immense pressure against your basement walls. If you have even hairline cracks, this pressure can force water through, leading to a wet basement and mold. But it gets worse. The second problem is the freeze-thaw cycle, magnified. As that water seeps into cracks and refreezes, it expands with enough force to break apart concrete over time. This process widens cracks and can lead to significant water intrusion issues. You were trying to clear a path, but you ended up laying siege to your own home. The proper technique is to always move snow away from your house. Identify areas on your property that slope away from the foundation and pile it there. It's also critical to ensure you aren't piling snow over basement window wells or blocking furnace and dryer vents, which can lead to a dangerous buildup of carbon monoxide inside your home. Another consequence is creating secondary ice slicks. If you pile snow where meltwater will run back across your driveway or sidewalk, you are creating a perfect recipe for black ice when the temperature drops overnight. Mistake 4. The more is better chemical assault. Faced with stubborn ice, it's tempting to adopt a scorched earth policy. If a little is good, a lot must be better, right? This couldn't be more wrong. The fourth deadly mistake is overusing ice melt products, waging a chemical war that causes expensive and often irreversible damage. Let's talk about what these products, especially rock salt sodium chloride, actually do. Rock salt is corrosive. When you spread handfuls of it, the salty brine seeps into the porous surface of your concrete. This not only worsens the damaging freeze-thaw cycle, but also chemically reacts with the concrete itself, causing pitting and flaking. The same corrosive action attacks metal, rusting out the bottom of your car, railings, and garage door tracks. The damage doesn't stop there. The excess chemicals get washed into your lawn and garden beds, where high concentrations of salt are toxic to plants. It effectively dehydrates their roots, leading to brown, dead patches of grass along your driveway. And for your pets, the chemicals can cause painful irritation and chemical burns on their paw pads. Naturally, they lick their paws, ingesting these chemicals, which can lead to serious health problems. So, what's the correct approach? First, understand that a little goes a long way. As a general rule of thumb, most products only need a small handful, about 2 to 4 ounces, spread over a square yard. Most people use 10 times that amount. Always read the label on the product you're using. The most effective way to apply it is with a spreader to ensure a thin, even application. Remember, the goal is to break the bond between the ice and the pavement, not to melt every last drop through sheer chemical force. Using more product doesn't make it work faster. It just multiplies the damage. By the way, if you're finding this information valuable and realizing you might have been making some of these costly mistakes, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. My goal is to give you the knowledge to protect your home and your wallet, and your subscription helps me keep making these guides for homeowners just like you. Mistake 5. Using the wrong ammunition for the Cold War. Walk into the hardware store in winter, and you're faced with a wall of choices. Rock salt, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, all with different prices. The fifth deadly mistake is assuming they are all the same and just grabbing the cheapest option. Using the wrong type of ice melt for the conditions is like bringing the wrong ammunition to a gunfight. It's ineffective and leaves you dangerously exposed. The effectiveness of every ice melt product is dictated by temperature. The most common is rock salt, or sodium chloride. It needs to draw heat from its surroundings to form a brine and start the melting process. Because of this, it's only effective down to about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, -9 degrees Celsius. If the temperature drops below that, rock salt is little more than useless gravel on top of the ice. You can spread an entire bag, and nothing will happen. This is where understanding the alternatives becomes critical. Calcium chloride is a different beast. It's exothermic, meaning it releases its own heat when it comes into contact with moisture. This makes it far more effective in colder temperatures, working down to an incredible -25 degrees Fahrenheit, -32 degrees Celsius. It's more expensive and also corrosive, so it should be used sparingly. Magnesium chloride is another high-performance option. It also creates heat and is effective in very low temperatures, often rated down to -13 degrees Fahrenheit, -25 degrees Celsius. It's generally considered less corrosive to concrete and gentler on vegetation than the other two, but it is also one of the more expensive options. So, how do you choose? You need to be a strategist. Look at the weather forecast. If the temperature is in the 20 seconds, rock salt will probably suffice. But if an Arctic blast is coming and temperatures are plummeting into the single digits or below, using rock salt is a complete waste. In those conditions, you must switch to a product containing calcium or magnesium chloride. Having two types of ice melt on hand, an everyday workhorse and a cold weather specialist, is the mark of a homeowner who truly understands how to win the war in winter. Mistake 6. The reckless pursuit of a clear path. When the snow is piling up, a sense of urgency can lead people to take dangerous shortcuts. The sixth deadly mistake is using unsafe removal techniques, prioritizing speed over safety, and risking serious injury or property damage. Let's start with your own body. Snow shoveling is a major cause of winter injuries. The mistake is lifting with your back. The correct, safe technique is to treat it like a weightlifting exercise. Keep your back straight, bend at your knees, and lift with your powerful leg muscles. Keep the shovel close to your body to maintain leverage. Whenever possible, push the snow instead of lifting it. The next level of recklessness involves the roof. The temptation to climb up on a sloped, snow-covered roof is a potentially fatal one. Even with safety gear, the risk of slipping on hidden ice is incredibly high. For a homeowner, there is almost no situation that justifies getting on your roof in winter. The correct tool is a roof rake, used from the safety of the ground. But perhaps the most alarming mistakes are the desperate attempts to melt ice with heat. The most common is using hot water. It seems logical, but you've just spread a thin layer of water over a sub-freezing surface. That water will rapidly refreeze into a sheet of black ice, which is even more dangerous. Even worse are attempts to use open flames, like a propane torch. This is an extreme fire hazard. These are not clever hacks, they are gambles with your life and your home. The mantra must always be patient, use the right tools, and prioritize safety above all else. Mistake 7. The set it and forget it corrosive aftermath. The storm has passed, the driveway is clear, and the job is done. This leads to the final deadly mistake, forgetting the cleanup. Leaving ice melt residue on your surfaces creates a long-term, corrosive problem. When ice melt works, it dissolves into a brine. After the water evaporates, a white, powdery residue of salt and chemicals is left behind. This residue is not inert. Every time there's a bit of moisture in the air, that residue is reactivated, forming a corrosive film that continues to accelerate the deterioration of your concrete, pavers, and any metal it touches. This residue also gets tracked into your house, where it can damage hardwood floors and carpets, and into your garage, where it continues its assault on your car and tools. So, what's the final step that everyone misses? The cleanup. Once the event is over and your surfaces are dry, remove the excess ice melt. You can use a stiff broom or a leaf blower to sweep away the residue. For a more thorough cleaning on a day well above freezing, you can rinse the surfaces with fresh water. This simple final step halts the ongoing chemical attack on your property and protects your indoor flooring. It's the final move that separates the amateurs from the true pros of winter home maintenance. So, there you have it. 7 deadly mistakes that turn melting snow into an assault on your home and your finances. From waging war with the wrong shovel to using the wrong chemical ammunition. The common thread is a lack of understanding, a belief that a brute force approach is the answer. But now, you have the knowledge. You know that winning the war against winter isn't about using more force, It's about strategy. It's about being proactive, not reactive. It's about understanding your tools, your timing, and the consequences of your actions. By avoiding these 7 mistakes, you're not just clearing a path. You are actively protecting your home's integrity, preserving your property's value, and ensuring the safety of your family. This winter, don't just fight the snow, outsmart it. If this guide has opened your eyes to a better way to manage winter, share it with other homeowners you know. And check out our next video on how to properly insulate your attic to prevent the #1 cause of destructive ice dams in the first place. Stay safe and stay smart.